Okay, let's dive in. We're looking at a life story today that honestly sounds almost made up. Moris Şinasi, or Moris Şinasi as he was known later.
Right, and we've got this whole stack of source material, articles, notes, research detailing his journey.
And our job really is to cut through all that, pull out the key stuff, the really important bits, so you get a clear picture of this, well, pretty amazing guy.
It's some trajectory, isn't it? I mean, starts super humble in Ottoman Manisa.
Yeah, barely survives childhood illness, gets very little schooling.
And then somehow builds this huge fortune over in America.
And tops it all off with these incredible acts of charity, philanthropy that made a real difference, like on 2 continents.
Exactly. We're talking about an immigrant becomes a tobacco king, basically.
But maybe remembered even more today for just how much he gave back.
So where do we kick things off? The sources all point to Manisa, Ottoman Empire, April 27, 1855.
And his birth name wasn't Şinasi, it was Musa Eskenazi.
Right, from a Sephardic Jewish family, modest background, part of that community that settled in the Ottoman Empire way back after the expulsion from Spain.
Definitely not a life of privilege. It sounds pretty tough.
Far from it. And the sources highlight this really pivotal moment early on. He gets incredibly sick.
Diphtheria, right. They
Yeah.
called it kuspalaza there. Nearly killed him.
Yeah, it sounds like it was touch and go. But what happens next is kind of amazing.
He's saved by a local doctor, Dr. Şinasi Bey, a Muslim Turkish physician.
And his parents, out of sheer gratitude, they do something incredible. They rename him.
Moris Şinasi.
Yeah, they give him the doctor's name so it would live on through the boy whose life he saved. I mean, think about that.
That's how he gets the name the world knows him by. What a story already.
It's powerful. But, even with this second chance, life was still hard. Poverty, very little education. He had to leave school really early.
And he never actually became fully literate, did he?
No. And there's that anecdote, the one from Greece, tells you so much.
Oh yeah, at the press event, he gets handed a paper.
And just passes it to someone else's. I can't read. You read it. Just like that.
And some journalist jumps on it, right? Asks him something like, you got this rich without reading? Imagine if you'd had an education.
And his reply is just perfect.
Yeah.
So self-deprecating, but you hear the confidence under it.
He says something like, with an education, he probably would have ended up just a good graveyard keeper.
Referencing a job he actually lost because he couldn't read.
It really makes you think, though, how did he build an empire like that? Without being able to read contracts, letters.
Right. What skills did he have instead? Amazing memory. Maybe just an incredible judge of character. Knowing who to trust.
Or maybe he was just brilliant at delegating, finding people who could read and handle that side. The sources don't really spell it out.
No, but it definitely shows his ambition wasn't tied to formal schooling. That drive was immense.
And it pushed him to leave Manisa. He was only 15. This is 1870, just looking for something better.
And talk about starting capital, or lack thereof. The sources say just 2 Ottoman gold coins.
The city.
2 coins. Seriously, what is that even worth? Almost nothing to start a new life abroad.
It shows incredible guts, doesn't it? Just setting off like that.
So first stop, Alexandria, Egypt, which was a real hub back then, right? Cosmopolitan port city.
Definitely. And that's where he gets his break. Finds work with a guy named Garofalo.
A Greek-Egyptian tobacco merchant. Cigarettes, too.
Yep. And he spends like 15 years there, learning the trade inside out from Garofalo, basically his apprenticeship.
And the sources paint him as smart, hardworking, ambitious, clearly soaked it all up.
Garofalo saw it too. Apparently, he's the one who encouraged Şinasi to aim even higher, look towards America.
The land of opportunity.
Exactly. So 1892, Şinasi's 35 now. He makes the move.
And Garofalo backs him.
Big time. Lends him $25,000, which was a fortune back then to finance the trip and the new business venture.
Wow. That's serious belief in him.
Totally. So he gets to America, adopts the name Moris Şinasi. More Western sounding.
Right. And he spots an opportunity almost immediately. The 1893 World's Fair in Chicago. The Columbian Exposition.
And he uses it to show off his invention.
An improved cigarette rolling machine. You gotta remember, in the U.S. then, most cigarettes were rolled by hand.
People bought the tobacco and papers separately, often.
So this machine, automating it, it was genuinely novel, kind of a big deal. People were fascinated.
And that Chicago Expo, that really put him on the map, didn't it? Laid the groundwork for everything that came next.
Absolutely. From there, he heads to New York City.
Which the sources describe as like the epicenter, tobacco trade, plus where so many immigrants were landing.
Perfect place for him. And first things first, He pays back that loan to Garofalo,
Good to know. Shows integrity.
definitely. Then he sends for his brother, Solomon, Shlomo Eskenazi,
Right, to join him. And together they start the company.
Şinasi Brothers Company. Set up a factory, uptown Manhattan, 120th and Broadway.
And their angle, their unique selling point was the tobacco itself.
Exactly. They used imported Turkish tobacco, totally different from the standard American Virginia blend. Gave it a distinct taste, sort of exotic.
They had that brand, Egyptian Prettiest,
Yeah.
with the whole Oriental theme.
Yeah, tapped into that trend.
Yeah.
And it worked. People liked the quality, the different taste. Demand really grew.
And here's where it gets really interesting, connecting back to his roots. He didn't just hire anyone.
No. He specifically recruited about 200 Sephardic Jews from Ottoman Turkey. A lot from Manisa, his old hometown.
That's incredible. It's more than just business, isn't it? It's like building a support system.
Absolutely. Helping fellow immigrants find work, establish themselves, creating this little enclave. Real solidarity.
And the business just took off. By 1907, Morris and Solomon were both millionaires.
Just from the cigarette business.
Yeah.
Amazing.
He also started his own family around this time, married Laurette Ben Ruby in 1903.
Met her in Salonika, right? They had 3 daughters, Victoria, Juliet, and Altina.
And his success didn't go unnoticed back in the Ottoman Empire either.
No. In 1906, Sultan Abdulhamid II actually awarded him the Order of the Mejidi, 4th class,
Which was for what, exactly?
for promoting Turkish tobacco exports,
Right.
basically creating this American market for it. It was a pretty big honor, a state decoration.
Really shows his status, kind of bridging those two worlds.
Definitely. But then, after building this whole thing for about 20 years, they decide to sell.
Right. In 1916, the Şinasi brothers sell the entire company, factories, brands, everything.
To the Tobacco Products Corporation,
Yeah.
which, interestingly, was part of the big American Tobacco Trust.
Ah, consolidation era. And they got a huge sum for it, didn't they?
Yeah, $3.5 million,
Yeah.
which in 1916 was massive. The New York Times even reported it.
So that was basically their retirement.
Pretty much. They stepped back from the day-to-day business.
Sadly, Solomon passed away just a few years after 1919.
Yeah. So Morris lived a quieter life after that, focused on family, community stuff, and philanthropy.
Which brings us to maybe the most lasting part of his legacy, right? The giving back.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just after he retired. Even while building the business, he was known for supporting people, especially immigrants, his community.
He was a big name in Sephardic charities in New York, involved in those mutual aid societies.
Helping newcomers with housing, finding jobs, education, really practical stuff.
And he wasn't just donating money, he was involved. They elected him honorary president of the Federation of Oriental Jews in America in 1914.
Yeah, that was a big meeting on the Lower East Side. Showed the respect he had in the community, his commitment.
But the biggest philanthropic act, the one he's really known for, came through his will.
Right. When he died in 1928, his estate was worth around $5 million. Huge money then.
And he set aside a massive chunk for charity, like $1.3 million.
Yeah, roughly. And the main part of that, the headline item, was $1 million in trust.
Specifically to build a hospital back in Manisa, his birthplace near Izmir, or Magnesia, near Smyrna, as he put it.
And he even specified the name, Moris Şinasi International Hospital.
The way he structured that fund is pretty smart, too.
Very. He put $200,000 for the actual building. But the rest, $800,000, was set up as an endowment.
Meaning the money itself wasn't spent, just the interest it earned.
Exactly. The idea was the investment income would pay for the hospital's running costs forever. Perpetuity.
Wow, that's really forward-thinking. Inspired by his own childhood illness, maybe?
You have to think so.
Yeah.
And it really echoes that Turkish concept of vakuf, a foundation for long-term public good.
Ensuring modern healthcare, especially for kids and the poor in his hometown, would last.
Not just get started, but keep going, sustain itself.
And he didn't forget New York either, did he?
No. The will also gave $20,000 each to 10 different New York City hospitals. Big names: Beth David, Lebanon, Beth Israel.
Plus smaller amounts, $10,000 sums to charities for the blind, orphans, disabled people.
A home for incurable patients, too. It really shows the breadth of his concern, both his old home and his new one. Jewish causes, general humanitarian causes.
It's just such a contrast, isn't it? This major philanthropist giving away millions.
Compared to that poor kid who couldn't even finish school, couldn't read. Amazing.
So after retiring, those last years were spent in New York, still involved in charity, social circles.
Living in that incredible mansion he'd built on Riverside Drive back in '07.
Oh yeah, the marble one. with Turkish baths. That sounds
A
amazing.
real landmark.
Yeah.
Kind of symbolized his success and that bicultural life he led.
He passed away September 10th, 1928, in New York. He was 73.
And his death, that's what activated all these plans in his will.
And his wife, Lorette, she was key in making the hospital happen.
Absolutely crucial. She actually went to Turkey in 1930, met with the government, the Ministry of Health.
And the Turkish authorities were on board.
Very much so. They welcomed it. Even passed a special law to waive customs duties on all the imported building materials and medical gear for the hospital.
That's significant support.
It really is. So construction went ahead, and the Moris Şinasi Children's Hospital opened in Manisa on August 15th, 1933.
Using about 80% of that $1 million fund for the building and the rest as the endowment.
Exactly. That vital 20% invested to generate income.
And it worked just like he planned. The interest pays for operations, charity care.
And it focused initially on mothers and children, bringing modern health care to people who really needed it.
And the incredible thing is it's still there, still running, almost a century later.
Yeah. Serving the public in Manisa. It's part of a bigger hospital complex now, but his name, his legacy, it's right there in that institution.
And there's still ongoing support.
Uh-huh. There's a Turkish nonprofit, the Moris Şinasi International Children's Health Association. It supports kids' health projects.
And it channels funds from that original New York endowment back to Turkey.
Every year, tens of thousands of dollars flowing back to support the hospital and related work. It perfectly embodies that vakuf idea of lasting impact.
Wow. And back here in the U.S., the mansion is still standing.
Yep, the Şinasi Mansion. It's a registered landmark. A beautiful reminder of his success, that blend of cultures.
And in the American Sephardic community, he's remembered as, well, a pioneer, right?
Right, definitely. An immigrant's success story. Self-made millionaire from nothing. Showed what was possible, the contributions of immigrants from the Ottoman world.
His story even pops up in histories of Turkish-American relations. Positive impact here, but always kept that connection to home.
It really is a dual legacy, isn't it? Celebrated in Manisa for the hospital he built.
And honored here in New York as this incredibly successful immigrant entrepreneur and benefactor. He really did bridge worlds.
So, yeah. That's the deep dive, the incredible life of Moris Şinasi.
From that poor, illiterate kid in Manisa saved by a doctor,
To a New York tobacco millionaire.
whose fortune built a hospital that's still helping people back where he started.
It's just a powerful story about ambition, resilience against huge odds.
And the impact you can have when you decide to give back in a really meaningful, lasting way.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How one person's journey, shaped by hardship and luck and drive, can echo through generations, across continents.
And just consider this, connecting it all back to the start, that single act of kindness.
Dr. Şinasi Bey saving the boy's life, inspiring the name change,
Yeah. And that action, maybe unintentionally, sets off this whole chain reaction.
leading eventually to a hospital that saves countless other lives for nearly a century now.
It's just a profound example of that ripple effect, isn't it? How compassion, how generosity can multiply out in ways you could never predict.